But welcome back to the Acer Team Story Cup, guys, where two very good players are about to collide. We'll talk about them in a moment. It's just worth noting before we do intros. Scores 1-1. So this is game number 3, of course, in a best of 9. For those who can't do math, best of 9 means first of 5 wins, alright? Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, the newcomer to the arena, Team Liquid's TLO.
And in the bottom right, taking out Mana in last game, it is our blue Protoss player, Invictus Gaming's Jim.
Now we kind of mulled over like who do you send out next. You know, we always love doing that, like the theory crafting of like what player comes out after what, who beats Jim, etc. I called a Zerg, but if we're gonna be quite frank here, guys, Jim's PvZ is pretty darn good. Not even his worst matchup, not by far, I think.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting, and we do have the long distance spawns as well.
Oh god, so. Yeah. I hate these spawn locations, but in fairness, it's because I'm Terran and I hate trying to wall off the front of the base here. Like, WTF is this?
Yeah, yeah, it's
the horrors of Daedalus Point haunt me for the rest of my life, and it's not changed much here. Now, granted, it is worth noting, guys, these are I'm not sure. I would have to go consult Daniel Fenner, because he's like the only one who's like the smart enough guy to do rush distance, like Reddit posts every time new maps are released. But I mean, this looks to me like one of the longest distances from base to base on any map. It's got 2 watchtowers between it. It kind of reminds me somewhat of King Jong Station, but a little more stretched out. But the most frustrating thing I think about this map, no matter what angles you spawn in, the third bases are going to be incredibly difficult for players to secure.
Yeah, it's very awkward, and even between like the distance between the third and the fourth, like you can stretch the if it goes to that stage in the macro game, you can stretch the other player really thin. And, for the Protoss player, of course, it's really hard to take that third base in the first place. So we've seen a lot of Protoss players taking the island bases, but on these long distance spawns, the island base is quite far away from where you spawn, so it's not really as viable in these spawning locations.
You know, it's actually interesting. I don't know. Okay, for those who don't know, by the way, guys, Nameshare, cool guy, awesome player, also Grandmaster Zerg on the European ladder. I was going to say, though, every time we've cast a ZVZ on this map, it's actually always been these spawn locations, oddly enough, in the Acer Team Story Cup. And it's in 3 different matches. One player goes for the Temple Bantling Bust every single time.
Oh, really?
Have you had, like, experience with a lot of these cheeses? Because I've seen a lot of cheeses on this matchup. Like, mostly from Zerg, granted, but on this map, these spawn locations, specifically in the Acer Team Story Cup, in the Go for StarCrafts and Zotacs, I don't know what it is. You see a long-distance map, and you think, like, hey, this will be a long game. But it's usually not.
Yeah, I mean, in CVC, it's kind of like, I guess, the mind game aspect, because the distance is so long between the players that, in a CVC, at least, you won't really expect the other player to go for like an early pull, because it will take the lane so long to get there, and then you might go for a bit of a greedy opener, and then you'll still lose to it because your pull is so late or something like that. So there is that kind of mind game aspect to it, I guess, but it's not like it's an especially good map to all in on, apart from the big like choke point where it's hard to wall off.
I bring this up mostly because it kind of reminds me a little bit about Whirlwind in that regard. Like, you'd always see players go to Whirlwind and you'd think, oh, big macro game on the way, but they would end up being like those sort of 10-minute matches. And Jim is looking to get a little bit aggressive here in TLO with 4 gates on 2 bases. Not something that immediately starts as an all-in, but can very quickly become an all-in, depending on the damage he can do to this base. He should be able to tear this down. But the thing is, TLO has scouted 3 gateways at the front. He knows there's at least 3 gateways of pressure coming up, and nobody puts down an Nexus that late. So he can probably, without scouting, assume this is at least, bare minimum, 4 gates.
Yeah, and TLO getting a bit supply block there. So he went for the extractor trick there to kind of squeeze some links out. 6 links on the way now. But yeah, I'd imagine TLO is quite comfortable in holding this, but we'll have to see. It depends on how the engagement goes, but Jim has to accomplish something here, and
I think
TLO made this extra queens, so he's going to be bringing all of his queens, I think, with these links to try and fend
this
this
off. But I mean, these are slow links. They'll be going through a time warp. This will not be easy to engage Jim, and I mean, Jim, of course, it's so tempting to just run to that base and dive it right now, but he doesn't know the times of speed, he doesn't know if there's roaches behind it, he's got to protect the pylon at the same time, and worry about a counterattack all at the same instant. So for him, his best case scenario, don't have to use a time warp. Save the Zealots, go for a recall afterwards, focus the the hatchery. But some of them playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Queens, I don't know, I just kind of feel like if he focuses the Nexus, he'll be able to recall out. He's gotta move the mothership core though.
But yeah, has to be careful with the mothership core. But
Recall. Oh, he manages. How does he catch all the zealots? No way, those are so out of range.
Wow. That's how many zealots? Oh my god, he got out with 7 zealots.
He only lost 2. That was actually a really sick recall. I can't stress like how much this must have been like on the border of the pixels required to be in range of that recall.
Yeah, that was crazy for sure. And I mean, yeah, that was hard for TLO. Like he had the kind of tools to kind of deal with that, but like the creep didn't extend to the third base yet. So
now that was painful. He also just got he's got to be careful. He's supply blocked once again, so new overlords are on the way. But for TLO, you know, he doesn't say okay, screw it, all in time, baby. He's still trying to take that third up. The worker count is still fairly even. Of course, as a Zerg player, you're going to want a little bit more. But this is like the hardest part about what happened in that fight. Not only did he lose the third, right? Like, okay, whatever. But look how many larvae he had to use these links for. Like, he didn't get use out of them at all. Now, he knows he can't go into the wall. There's going to be force fields aplenty. He's not going to Baneling bust because it's Protoss, let's be honest. So he's just got a lot of just kind of, I hate to say it, a useless supply sitting here right now.
Yeah, there isn't really anything you can do as a Zerg player here to try and, you know, counterattack and do damage. So, you know, TLO has to just drone up here. But, I mean, TLO, like, that build he went for a Liquid Zerg build, he had no tech. Like, he, you know, took workers off gas, he got that speed, and he wanted to save that third base, but wasn't able to. And this Queen, I don't know, that's going, that must be quite a big mistake. It's worked so far.
No, I think he brought it for the mothership core. It sounds silly to say, but maybe. He could also, if he drops creep, he could do a creep tumor. I think it's TLO, right? So he does weird stuff like that.
I'm not sure that was on purpose. He might just be thinking now, well, the Queen's here anyway, I might as well go try and get some creep down.
I think for a normal player, we would call it a misclick, but for TLO, I don't know. I kind of feel like it was maybe intentional.
Yeah, let's say it was
because there's 2 drones coming this way too. Like if these are both spine crawlers, maybe? No, a hatchery. What?
No, he's gonna cancel the hatch to get creep and then make a creep tumor with the Queen.
But his layer's like his layer's 4 seconds off. Why did he just drop with the over? Okay, whatever. It's TLO.
I don't think you realized.
I'm not gonna question it. But going for an attack across the field, Jim has a lot of energy in these sentries, and quite frankly, TLO's not been successful at baiting out any force fields just yet.
Yeah, this is a lot of links. 9 roaches in production, +1 missile attack from the way as well. Roach beat, but a lot of sellers, a lot of sentries. There's a tiling going down.
Alright, I like the sniping of the probe actually, that's huge. I mean, this is another thing too. You see a lot of Zerg players hesitant to spread creep in CVP, but this is great because right now this limits where the pylons can come down. Warpin's gonna be so far away.
This is a big +1 timing though. IGJim.
That's a lot of roaches coming out too for TLO. If he waits for those roaches, comes in from behind with the links, focuses the pylon, cuts off reinforcements, he will wreck with those roaches. These are only zealots after all.
Yeah, it's a lot of zealots.
It is still a lot of units, yeah, just thinking on this. But the Zergling's going to be able to finally get involved with the fight. Zealots are a little bit spread. Time Warp wears off, and now it's primarily sentries. Oh god, the sentries have been segmented!
There's no recall.
There's no recall, but the sentries... Oh my god, how are the sentries actually working versus roaches? I guess we got so low of the roach count, but...
well, looks like core fell. Oh my god, that's disastrous.
GG. That right there was like the difference. Getting out alive, that was the difference of an all-in or not, honestly.